And we are live. Hey guys, welcome to the Superherocuts podcast where we talk all things Marvel, DC, and Star Wars. It's your boy Stevie Hayes, joined by the usual co-host Comic Cuts, bro. What's up, man? How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm pumped. We got a good episode for you guys. Stoked to get into it. How about you, Stevie?
Good, man. You see, Percy Jackson comes out tonight, so I got my Camp Half Blood hoodie on.
Oh, okay. It's funny because
Yeah,
I've never watched it, so I wouldn't know, but I definitely noticed the bright orange sweatshirt.
yeah.
Thankfully, I take my glasses off to record for you guys, so I don't have the reflection. But even without the glasses, there's no missing that orange sweatshirt.
Yeah, right. So I'm dumb
Yeah,
hype, bro. I can't wait for this freaking movie to come out. Or show
cool.
comes out tonight 3 a.m. So I'm hyped about that. Covering that on Fancy Cuts. So all right, so
Nice.
guys, obviously today we have a pretty stacked agenda to get to. Let me not say agenda because of the times that we're in. We have a pretty stacked docket that we have to get into regarding obviously Jonathon Majors, about the future of the MCU with Secret Wars, and then we're going to talk about some Avengers stuff and X-Men and all that jazz. We're going to get into all that. So we're going to start first. So this is going to be like a part one and a part two. So the part one, we're going to talk about Jonathon Majors getting fired, and then we'll go into what we think is going to happen with Avengers King Dynasty, what that is going to turn to. So as of yesterday, we have found it has been posted that obviously Jonathon Majors has been fired as King the Conqueror. He is no longer King the Conqueror, and obviously he was found guilty in his case. And obviously, Marvel and Disney has clauses that you can, get out of. So I mean that they can get out of their contract with Jonathon Majors, obviously. So all of that has happened. So I want to talk about this Jonathon Majors and what this firing, like why this firing is such a deep thing and why a lot of fans were like, really into it. And we're obviously going to give our perspectives, but the reason why this is such a big deal is because people don't understand that Jonathon Majors was the center of this next phase. When it comes to villains, he was the villain. See, back in the day, right? We had Ultron, we had Loki. There were so many other villains that were linking to Thanos. When it comes to Ken the Conqueror, he was the Loki, he was the Ultron, and he was going to be the Thanos. He was going to be the big villain, and not to mention, Jonathon Majors was going to play every single variant of Ken the Conqueror. Like, I don't think you guys understand. There were going to be multiple projects where Ken the Conqueror would be in it, and there would be different versions of King. Even the Beyonder, which was supposed to come in Secret Wars, that was going to be a variant of Ken the Conqueror. So their whole entire universe was being put on, the strength that Jonathon Majors was going to play all of those parts. That is why this is such a big deal for Marvel Studios. So when all of this happened, this is why we've made, we've had to make over 20 or 30, 40, 50 videos about this whole King of the Conqueror situation because of how important it is to the MCU itself. Because as I said, a lot of people were depending on Jonathon Majors. So him getting fired is a really big deal. And at the end of the day, it hurts Marvel Studios. There's no other way around that. This hurts Marvel Studios in every way. This, and it hurts me and even Comic Cuts, because we love the Jonathon Majors as an actor. We thought he was, on the road to becoming the next, of the Denzels and the Samuel L. Jackson. And it's honestly embarrassing that, this happened, and it's crazy, and screw him. I mean, being real. But you know, it's just wild that this happened. But yeah, that is why we are so passionate about this. Why a lot of fans are, because if you aren't a Marvel fan, they were putting the bank on Candy Conqueror. All you, bro.
So, first of all, welcome back, Chigs. Love your comment. I was thinking that same thing today. I was like, finally, Marvel is going to have to do a recast. And the next time a recast comes up in conversation, fans aren't going to have like a bad taste in their mouth, because fans have, for some reason, MCU fans have been very anti-recast. I mean, I don't think some reason. It obviously has to do with Chadwick Boseman and, the emotional, just people being emotional over the loss of Chadwick. But nonetheless, listen, Jonathon Majors really fumbled the bag. Like, this guy, imagine if the Infinity Saga, we were introduced to Thanos early on, not like his short little cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, imagine he was the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, and imagine he appeared in TV shows. If we had Disney Plus or something like that, he was going to be the guy. I mean, he was the hottest character in the MCU right now, in the way that Iron Man was, and like I was really bought in. I said to Steve the other day, like, I don't know if I'll ever watch Quantumania again. We'll see how I feel after this recast comes, but this was a big deal. It was listen, Marvel at the worst possible time took the biggest L with Jonathon Majors yesterday. If you watched our show last week, we predicted this was coming. We specifically said it based on the text messages. Obviously a guilty verdict also seals the deal. Like, hell no. You can't market someone, who did such things. And by the way, there's a lot of people comparing this to Ezra Miller. The difference is Ezra Miller's episode happened after the movie was wrapped up and post-production was done. They're talking about making another 8 movies with the guy, okay? So you can't compare the two. Apples and oranges, very unfair comparison. And anyone who pretends that is a fair comparison is a clown and doesn't understand details and nuance, okay? Or they're just acting, and anyone who acts like a clown, you shouldn't take their word seriously either. But it sucks. I hope they get a good recast. It's Marvel. I think they are going to get a good recast. Saw a lot of names and interesting ideas thrown out. Saw a lot of stupid ideas thrown out. I mean, there were people online that were actually saying, and I responded to one of them on Twitter or X, Marvel could do the coolest thing or the funniest thing and bring Terrence Howard back to play Kang. Why? Because he's black? That's like the only reason? Seriously?
Yeah.
Such a dumb idea. Like,
Yeah. And we will get into some people that we have listed when we go to what the Avengers should do with King Dynasty and all that jazz. But yeah, man, it's just a shame because you and I both love Jonathan and what he did with Kang. So it's just a shame that, this happened, but it is what it is. There's nothing really much more you can do. And, as you guys should follow our advice, you move on and you hope for better. That's the best you can possibly do at this point. And, I'll be praying for Jonathan, and I pray that dude's soul is okay. And I also want to, send out prayers for that girl as well. For every, Grace. Everyone in that situation, prayers out, and I hope that all that drama gets solved, and that there could be some positivity that come out of it. Go ahead.
There were a lot of people that rushed to X Twitter yesterday to say that you are a bad person if your first reaction was to think about Marvel. And I want to say something to that. First of all, no, we're not. Okay. We are fans of Marvel, invested into the MCU. Grace Jabari got justice yesterday. Okay. So, all things considered, I think things went as well as they could have for her yesterday. But for those of you in the comic book movie or comic book fandom who go online to bash other people on social media for no reason, you're bullies. You're not virtuous, and that shit has got to stop. It's absurd. It's annoying, and it is so condescendingly pretentious. Just get out of here.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, guys, like, we have to make the main thing the main thing. So, anyways, okay, so yeah, glad that that's done, and and obviously Marvel Studios already had it queued up what they were gonna do, because the second that boy was guilty, they dropped him like a fly. I mean, it was a quick turnaround.
It was like within 20 minutes. That was crazy.
Yes, it was insane. So now that we talked about that, now let's talk about this next thing of what do we think is going to happen with Avengers King Dynasty, because there was a rumor that right now the title is Avengers 5 and they're trying to figure out what they're going to do. And I'm going to be honest, I do believe that Kevin Feige has to have had a contingency plan, because this whole thing has been going around for this whole drama has been going around for the last 6 months, or no, this has been going on before even Ant-Man. So
Yeah.
there has to be they've had to come up with
I
a
don't think
contingency
no.
plan.
It's definitely not been going on since before Ant-Man.
No,
Definitely.
I'm saying like right when the Ant-Man press started, that's when the Jonathon Majors incident happened, right? Because remember, because it was after. It was right after Ant-Man. Right after Ant-Man, actually.
I think it was a little. I think it was like June. I think it was
Summertime?
like around Flash. Yeah, I think it was early summer.
Okay. But yeah, so with that happening, right? I want to give what I think is going to happen, or a couple options of what I think is going to happen in Comic Cuts. You can give yours. So I think a couple of things gonna happen. I think they could, which I think is the best option. You recast Kane the Conqueror. That's what I think is the best option. I think they could also chalk Kane the Conqueror and go with Doctor Doom, which is what a lot of fans want. And that's top, like that's the only two options that you could go. And something else that I heard is that they might chalk the idea of King Dynasty and do a Secret Wars Part 1 and Part 2, which is what was originally going to happen before the whole King Dynasty came out. So yeah, I think those are some options that they could possibly do. But me personally, I lean more to the recast of King the Conqueror, because I think there are a lot of good actors out there that could take the place of Jonathon Majors. Now Jonathon Majors didn't play enough King the Conqueror to where I think that fans are going to really be tripping about it, because I mean, a lot of people didn't like his role in Ant-Man because he got beaten, and the other versions was just Victor Tomley and He Who Remains. And I think that there's enough actors out there that could take his place. And to be honest, I think if Marvel recast, I do think they're going to do more than one variant of King the Conqueror. I think that they would cast multiple people to play King. And I think they would do that out of the fear of what happened with Jonathon Majors. Like I can see them casting like 2 to 3 people. So the Council of Kings could possibly be 3 different people, which I think would actually be super awesome. Like I would love to see something like one version is Damson, like Idris, right?
Damson
And then the second version is like an Idris Elba, and then the third version is freaking like Denzel Washington. So like you do like 3 different like age groups. I think that there's a lot that you could do, with the recasting, and you can give more actors the spotlight. And I think that fans would grow more attached to the multiple, versions of characters, and you can maybe have multiple Kangs through those 3, so they either pop up as like the Idris Elba, Denzel, or Damson Idris. These are just like, I'm just throwing out names, but yeah. So how do you feel about the future of Kane the Conqueror and Avengers?
I think the Avengers 5 thing is a dud. I think that's completely fake and false. I think people ran with it because it was easy to drive some quick engagement and clicks. There were some legit outlets yesterday that were saying that Marvel is moving forward as planned with Avengers Kang Dynasty. I think they're too invested into the Kang storyline to abandon it now. I don't buy into the Doctor Doom thing at all. I don't think that they want to play that card too early. I think their plan is for Doctor Doom to be the big bad, once the Kang storyline is over. I think Doctor Doom is going to stay on post Secret War as the big bad, even if they do some sort of soft reboot on the whole MCU. They'll keep on Doctor Doom. So listen, I don't buy into it. Be careful. There's a lot of clowns out there, and they are not shy about talking about what they think is happening or what they believe is going to happen on social media. And the more I log on to comic book movie Twitter X, the more I realize I should just make a burner and live on that account, because I would not see so many stupid takes. You're muted.
I don't even know if that will happen, bro. You might still run some wild takes now. They're everywhere, man. Yeah, they're freaking everywhere. Comic Cuts, they're everywhere. But yeah, so I mean, I would love for King Dynasty to still happen. I think you and I are in the same boat of we still want King the Conqueror. And I love the idea of having multiple Kings, and I will love, and heck yeah, you need to work Doctor Doom into the King story. Obviously, I mean that's an obvious answer. So,
By the way, I called it. Doctor Doom is going to be the one that takes out Kang, and I'm still calling that. You could put that one onto the bank.
I'm gonna timestamp that in that clip. So we're gonna make sure that
Definitely.
that gets out. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot that you could do with this King the Conqueror thing, and I don't think it's dead like what everyone else says. And honestly, I think this is a good thing. Also, now I also feel bad for Michael Waldron because he's the one writing the script. So does he have to rewrite the script? But as I said, guys, I really believe there's no way that Feige like doesn't have a contingency plan after all these months of planning. Come on, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and we're going to go and we're also going to talk about that when we talk about the X-Men updates, because I really believe that the leaks are getting out of hand. And I really don't like some of the leaks that the X-Men leaks are saying, because the leaks that came out today, literally about, and we'll talk about this in the next like maybe 20, but the female-led X-Men leaks are not true, and it's pissing me off that there are respected leakers that I follow that have been writing about stuff. They're taking stuff and running with it. That was an early development that got canceled. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm all for Avengers 5 happening and Avengers 6. If it's a Secret Wars Part 1, but it's focused on Kang, I really don't care. But just don't kick Kang out of the story.
Yeah, keep Kang.
Yeah, and I also, because like where Loki is, even in his story, Kang has to come back, bro. Like, come on, man. Like,
Kang is such a dope character. He's like so one of a kind. And don't get me wrong, Doom is too. But trust me, the Doom time is coming. Like that is indefinite. We're gonna get Doom, but let's enjoy Kang first. Come
yeah,
on.
exactly. And I mean, the only performance that people didn't like was Ant-Man. Everything else, Kang was great. So,
I don't even think
um,
people didn't like his performance in Ant-Man.
no,
I
it's the
just
fact
think
that he
people don't
lost.
like that he lost to Ant-Man, and maybe that wasn't the best writing, but they
Oh
got
yeah,
rid of Jeff Loveness. He's kind of a clown too, and I tried to defend him because sometimes I thought people were really harsh on him, but he does seem like a clown, and
yeah,
I don't think he should have been. I almost think sometimes when you put someone who isn't qualified in a position, you set them up for failure, and I do think that's what happened with Jeff Loveness, and I think his
yeah.
career is going to suffer a lot of damage for it, and it sucks. He got outsized by the job he was in, and it wrecked him. But
Yeah.
that's what
I also
happens.
think I also think Loveness could have been really good. The issue is that they didn't give him a leash, and and Loveness
But
reminds me a lot,
that's
and Loveless reminds me of like, and he really gives me Taika vibes, because I think Thor Ragnarok is a good movie, but I think fans love Thor Ragnarok because Taika was on a leash. And then when we saw Love and Thunder, that was Taika off of the leash, and we were like, "What the hell is he doing?" And I just feel like Loveness had no type of leash at all, and they kind of let him do what he wanted. And I think that
I
type
don't
of writing
know.
really hurt the movie.
You know, maybe that is how it works at Marvel, but I always tend to thought that Kevin Feige is someone that picks creators that he has full faith in. And that's kind of how it works there. And sometimes when you're going to work somewhere and you break the mold or matrix of what is there, like it doesn't always, that also doesn't always work out in your favor. That's like a double-edged sword. Like sometimes people go there and they break the matrix and they're so successful that it's like amazing. But if it isn't, and I think like that's what happened with the Russo brothers. I think Kevin Feige, found them however he did, or maybe had a relationship with them because they were probably somewhat well known. And, he was just like, you guys are awesome. I believe in you. I'm going to put this budget behind you. And it worked. And then he saw Jeff love this, and maybe he saw some kind of spark in him, and, he was just wrong.
Yeah, but I was also reading this on Google about like the producer and director relationship, and basically, I was reading this article, and the article was saying that for a movie to succeed, right, bro, the producer, the director, and the writers all have to be on the same page.
Right.
And they were, and basically like when you like, you don't say the Russo brothers without the writers, like without Steven in them, like, and when it came to that run that we had, the Russos and the writers and Kevin, they were all on the same page. And I really think what happened was Kevin was like, you know what, we got the movie formula figured out. I'm gonna step off. And the second he stepped off, that's when everything fell to hell. So, and that's why I really think the issue is, and that's why I think we've ate a lot of trash these past couple, of times. So, but yeah, man, I am pretty hyped about with the future. But let's hit some chats real quick. We already answered that one. Ryan Gosling is Black Panther. Shut up, bro. Does Kang have to be a black guy at this point? Kang does not have to be a black guy. But
I saw something on X that was actually a good take, believe it or not. It's not all bad. I think I sent it to you, and it was someone was like, "Hear me out," and they posted a picture of Adam Driver, and I thought that was an awesome take. And before I saw it, I didn't think about Kang as a white actor, but I suppose it could be a white actor. He's white in the comics, the character. I think the beauty of Kang in terms of casting a white or a black actor is that, and I know, people get very sensitive on this topic, but bear with me for a second. I think that, if you were to do it to a character like a Batman or a Superman, it would rub a lot of people the wrong way. But to Kang, number one, he's not so well known outside of the comic fandom. And number two, he's almost always in a mask. So people aren't so historically, or, he doesn't have a lot of heritage of people being connected to his skin color or his skin at all. So I think Kang is one of the few characters that kind of breaks that matrix of, people caring so much about his skin color. I do think that it would rub a lot of people the wrong way if you were to revert him to a white actor. And there might be some validity there. And listen, I'm not a big diversity guy or anything, but I do understand that most of the MCU does have a white cast, and I think it would be nice to have more black actors. So I do think it would be cool to keep it with a black actor. Having said that, I thought Adam Driver was a great suggestion. But the thing about Adam Driver is a guy like him not being in the MCU at this point, I find odd, because he obviously has a good relationship with Disney, number one. They obviously could have put him in the MCU by now. And I think there's one of two things. I think he either has been casted in the MCU and we have no idea about it yet, and they're planning on telling us within, some given time frame, or he's just not interested, which is possible. John Boyega is another big name that people throw out. By the way,
overrated.
Listen, I agree. I think he's way overrated.
No way he should be Kang.
He's perfect for no way he should be Kang. And by the way, I think he's a clown because he said he has he responded with like the Shrek donkey, bobbing his head. No.
He's a danger to the studio, bro. I ain't gonna lie. He's a danger.
He's a danger to the studio in the same way that Ray Fisher is, number one, and kill two birds with one stone, because Ray Fisher, that's all I'm going to say about him, because that's all he deserves. He sucks. And but John Boyega, I think it's drama also, and I think he would cause a lot of problems for the studio. And it's a blessing in disguise that he's saying no, because a lot of clowns on X are pushing for John Boyega.
Yep.
But listen, there are plenty of other good actors to choose from. I posted my pick. I said I think it should be Damson Idris. I thought Stevie's pick, once he posted it, was awesome as well. Lakeith Stanfield, I'm a big fan of his. Lakeith has like a humorous side to him. And when I saw that, I was like, that pick might be better than mine. I don't know. But it was a really good pick. So if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, man, we gotta stop the John Boyega stuff. As a huge Star Wars fan, Finn was not that great. I'm sorry, Finn was not John Boyega did not make Finn pop. Okay, I'm just to be real. I don't think he's that great of an actor. As I said before, Damson Idris, Lakeith Stanfield. When it comes to Adam Driver, I would love him to either be Reed or Doctor Doom. And if Cillian Murphy is Doctor Doom, I would love him to be Reed over Pascal. In my opinion, even though I think Pascal is a better actor because he can act his butt off.
he is not Reed Richards. He's not Reed
Yeah,
Richards. Like,
but I think,
no.
but I think Pedro was good enough to make it work. If that makes sense, I
agree.
get
I
it,
don't think he's
but
the worst pick for sure. But he's
yeah,
not like Reed Richards is. The
yeah,
casting of Reed Richards is as important as the casting of Iron Man, and I don't think people understand that because here's the thing: aside from the fact that Reed Richards is, like a dominant character that's going to take over the MCU, a lot of the MCU rides on the success of the Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four rides on the success of Reed Richards. So that casting is one of the most important MCU castings. And before I forget, I want to say something on the diversity bit because I don't want to rub it in the wrong way. Not that I don't think I said anything wrong that I need to be apologetic for, but diversity as something where it is the result of picking the right people, I'm happy to do. But I don't think people should be chosen because they are of a certain category of person, if that makes any sense.
it's about who plays the role the best.
And in this case, it's about who plays the role the best, especially with a character like Kang, who could be white or black.
Yeah, because even with Percy Jackson, right? Because in the Percy Jackson books,
you can't even tell that he's black,
right? Exactly, right? Because in the Percy Jackson books, right, Annabeth has said that blonde hair because she's white, but in the show, the author casted a black character, and she said in an interview that she was kind of scared, was talking to Rick because she was a fan. She was like, "Why would you cast me? Like, I'm not white." And Rick said, "All you need to know is that I made the book and I picked you because you acted better than all of the other people." And that's how casting should work. Obviously there are just some characters that we don't want to change, like Black Panther would never be white.
right.
John Stewart's Green Lantern would never be white.
Right. James
Martian
Bond
Manhunter,
black.
Martian Manhunter would never be white. There are just certain characters where you just like Superman would never. Now there's black Superman, but Kal-El would never be black, if that makes sense. And that's one of the reasons why John
be controversial.
no, I mean that's why they made John Stewart. And honestly, just being real, I like John Stewart more than Hal. I mean, but that's because I grew up with John Stewart more than Hal, more than Hal Jordan. So there's beauty in diversity. There's just a way to to do it. So yeah, but anyways, Kang doesn't have to be black. But anyways, so all right, Secret Wars is Doom's biggest storyline. I can almost guarantee you. After Secret Wars, the next saga is the X-Men saga, with the next Thanos being a mutant like Apocalypse. Well, we will be talking about who the villain will be in X-Men. When would you? I guess he's saying when would you add Doom at that point? I think that Doom's going to play a big key role in Secret Wars. To be honest,
yeah, I think Doom. Listen, you can't have a Doom story without a Secret War story without Doom. That's like doing Infinity War without Thanos. It does not make sense. Marvel is not dumb. They are not going to do that. My ring light fell. But
good, bro.
Yeah, but you could still do Kang before that. And by the way, you could still have Doom after Secret Wars. Like, even if you kill him off in Secret Wars, there's ways to bring him back. They are not bringing in Doctor Doom for one movie. That would be like the DCU bringing in Superman for one movie, or bringing in Lex Luthor for one movie. Doctor Doom is the king villain of Marvel, okay? They are not going to give Kang the Conqueror a multiverse saga to give Doctor Doom one movie. It's just not happening. Understand it, and we can move on.
Yeah. I also think that they're going to link Doom more to being a sorcerer, which I think gives Doctor Doom more validity as a character. Because a lot of times they link Doctor Doom to the Fantastic Four, but what makes Doom universal, right, isn't that he's just the villain for the Fantastic Four. What makes Doom universal is the fact that he is, he goes toe to toe with Doctor Strange. Like, a lot of people don't understand, Doctor Doom is the greatest sorcerer in Marvel Comics. The only person that can go toe to toe with him is Doctor Strange, and he's taken out Doctor Strange countless times. So, there's obviously that rumor going around that Doctor Doom is going to be in what's it called he's going to be in Doctor Strange 3, and that's the way that he's going to get introduced instead of the Fantastic Four movie, which is something that I'm really excited about because there's a lot of good stories with Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom, and I think that's going to be good to build up kind of like a rivalry between those two. So I remember I heard Boyega as a recasted T'Challa, and I was like, no, yeah, bro. And this is the thing about too with like when it comes to like T'Challa, like, you know, you still want the actor to look African. You know, John Boyega looks African American, not African, if that makes sense. You know, if you guys know who I want John David Washington to play T'Challa, which is Denzel's son. I think he would be perfect. Also, I think with the next to T'Challa, you go like a darker tone. So I think that would be super awesome to see. So yeah, man, I love that. Let's read your last comment. I agreed to that some of the other unknown characters can be race swapped, but that doesn't mean every unknown can be race swapped. Race swapped Wonder Man, okay, but a race swap Sentry, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really feeling the Steven Yen Sentry, man. And I love Steven Yen. I love him voicing Invincible. It's generational, but him as Sentry, I'm not. It's not selling me, man. It's really not. I agree. Like, are we gonna put a blonde wig on this man? So, Comic cut you there. I think his ring light fell, y'all. But yeah, man. That's the way that I'm feeling, man. I'm not. Yeah.
Yo, so on the race swapping, I don't think not everything needs to be a constant like rule. You know, it's not like I'm saying because Kang's skin isn't seen and he doesn't have so much heritage and familiarity with fans outside of the comic fandom. I'm not saying that it could work for every character. I'm saying it works for Kang for those reasons, but that doesn't mean it's a consistent rule.
I agree. 1 second. Okay, so next on the docket, we have something that Comic Cuts was excited to talk about. So, Alan Richson, he spoke about wanting to play Batman in the DCU, and I want to read the quote that he said. Hold on, 1 second, pull it up on my Twitter. By the way, Alan Richson, he's been involved with DC before. So if you don't know the history of this guy, he was first Aquaman in Smallville, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. He was the Walmart Aquaman. That's what I call him. And then he also played Hawk in the Titans TV show. Because if you guys, in DC, Hawk and Dove, he played Hawk. He played amazing in all those roles. He was also in a really funny show / movie called Blue Mountain State, if you grew up with that stuff. So he's been in mad projects. And the most recent project is Jack Reacher, which he's actually getting noticed for. Like he actually just did a whole
Great
article
show.
on. Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's on my list after I get done that Peaky Blinders. But he actually was on Men's Health today. He just had a whole article about him because he put on 50 pounds to become Jack Reacher. They needed him to be 235 pounds.
He's buff, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, he's a great actor. He's got charisma. He's got charm. And I'm happy that he wants to be in the TCU. I think there's a role for him. I don't think it's Batman. I think he was asked by a fan at some kind of event, and he had the microphone, and he said yes. I could be wrong on that, but that's what the picture at least looked like. But listen, he's not Batman, okay? And no actor in his position would not want to play Batman. I mean, why be an actor if you don't want to take on that kind of role, unless you're, someone like Leonardo DiCaprio and, you've established yourself as Scorsese and Tarantino's favorite actor. Of course you want to be in a franchise like the DCU. And there is a perfect role for him, but it's not Batman. And it's my personal, I don't want to say he's my favorite because I don't like anyone more than Batman, but he's probably my second favorite under Batman. And that is Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. I think Alan Richardson would be a perfect Green Lantern. I think he has the perfect personality for it, and he looks the part. I don't think he needs to be as buff as he is in Reacher, but I'm sure he's not going to be opposed to slimming down for a role like that. And I think it's a perfect role. I think it would, help get him the status that he wants. And I think deserves in his career. Yeah, Alan Richardson. Let's start the campaign for Hal Jordan because you are the perfect guy, and if you're down for it, I'm pretty sure James Gunn would be happy to have you as Hal Jordan Green Lantern. And by the way, let's stamp that one too because I called it, and I think it's going to happen.
I disagree. Okay, I do not want him as Hal Jordan, but I do have
Really?
3 roles. No, man, I love him, but no, I think Hal Jordan need. I don't know. I need someone else. I don't know who that would be, but I just don't see it. But here are 3 roles I think he could fill: Aquaman,
I can see that.
Green
That's
Arrow.
actually a good call too.
I think he'd be a really good Green Arrow, Oliver Queen,
Yeah.
or Batman. I think he will play a really good Batman. Because he is buff as heck. And
yeah, but the personality for Batman is such a demanding role, and I just don't think he has the Batman like Bruce Wayne personality, you know?
Bro, you know what just happened, bro?
What?
They dropped the Percy Jackson episodes just now. It was supposed to come out at midnight at 3 a.m. Oh my goodness. Anyways, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, Alan is Hal is very interesting. I'll have to give that some thought. And maybe if he did slim down, the only issue with that is if he's still doing Jack Reacher, he can't slim down because he has to stay a certain weight for that role.
Yeah, but I'm sure he'd abandon it, even though as much as I love Reacher. Here's the thing, though. I want to say one more thing about it. Could you see Alan Richardson being that angry, gritty Batman that Pattinson was? Or
yes, because he did it in Titans.
Titans was a long time ago, and he was great in it, but I don't remember.
He was gritty in Titans. I mean, the fighting, he fought well. I mean, he
was dark. I remember he was pissed off. But
he was pretty dark.
The thing is, and here's the thing that a lot of people, it goes over a lot of people's heads with James Bond, but not so much Batman. But what people need to understand is that, first of all, Batman, if there's any equivalent to James Bond in the world of comics, it is Batman. And it's not just because they're the cool rich guys. But like James Bond, the best James Bonds are always really good at being angry, but not like over the top. You could tell they're very angry, but it comes out very subtly. And the best Bond actors are able to nail that. And I think that I think Pattinson kind of did that in the Batman. Like, yeah, obviously there were some scenes where it was obvious he was angry, but I don't think like if someone were to try to act angry, I don't think that didn't have like great acting skills. I don't think they would be able to deliver what Pattinson did, and I think it really helped drive a lot lot of his Batman performance.
Ackles is still my first choice, though. Jensen Ackles is my first choice.
And Jensen Ackles, I think, like that's the other thing. When I saw Alan Richardson, like I think, listen, I like Alan Richardson a lot, but like Jensen Ackles is a much better fit for the role. And if Alan Richardson isn't a better fit for Jensen Ackles, why would anyone be calling for Alan Richardson? Because as far as we know, Jensen Ackles would take it too.
Also, the other thing about Alan is that, and here's the thing, right? This Batman that we have in DCU needs to be a father. I don't think Alan Richardson can play the father. And like, I love him as an actor, but playing like the Batman dad, I see Jensen Ackles filling that role perfectly. Number one, because Jensen Ackles is older, and this Batman is going to be a little bit older, still prime Batman. But we need Batman the father, not Batman.
He's Homelander's father.
Yeah. Oh wait, Jensen Ackles. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. But yeah. So I mean, I think that Jensen Ackles as Batman will play like a really big role, and Jensen Ackles is one of the greatest actors, that we have. So why would you not go with one like that? He already, and plus James Gunn said, right, he wanted the actors to voice an animation. Jensen Ackles already voices the animated Batman now. So, and I heard a rumor that he's going to be voicing the video games. So after Conroy. So why? So I mean, why would you not sign this guy to a live action deal? Why would you not sign him? Let's go through some chats. Alan Richardson wants to play Batman in the Brave and the Bold. Yes. he said that he would be open to it. Percy Jet, whatever. As how? Never thought of that. What do you think
Brendan,
of
don't tell
rumored?
him this. I
Right, I
want him to
know.
stay on to do the podcast. Come on, man.
Never thought of that. What do you think of rumored Arnold Schwarzenegger's son is Hal? Which son?
Oh, Patrick Schwarzenegger. Listen, no. Okay, listen. Just here's the thing. I'm so tired of, and I'm not taking my anger out on you, Hungry on me, because this goes for a lot. This is like a big thing that a lot of people do. A lot of times, someone looks the role, and people are like, "Okay, so he should act the role." And I haven't seen Patrick Schwarzenegger in anything. Maybe he's been in stuff, and I just haven't seen it.
I'm
But
pretty sure he's an
I'm not.
aspiring actor.
What?
I'm pretty sure he's an aspiring actor. Like he's aspiring. I don't think he's done anything.
Yeah, and listen,
good.
and I'm sure he'll get roles, and his career will be fine, and that's great. I have no problem with him being an actor. Why would I? But I actually know a kid who knows him really well. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, yeah, I have no problem with him, being an actor and getting roles, even if he gets roles because of who his dad is. I have no problem with that. All power to him. I can't stand people who are like, oh, nepotism. It's so annoying. Like, just tell us you're jealous and envious of everyone and shut up. But he hasn't been in anything. And because he hasn't been in anything and I haven't seen him, why am I going to believe that anyone wants him to be Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, for any other reason than he kind of looks the part? And I have a problem with someone being casted as a role because they look the part and not because they can act the part. A lot more people will naturally look like a certain character than can faithfully deliver an accurate portrayal of the character. And that's my point.
Agreed, 100%. All right. Jensen Ackles is Batman. David Corn swept Superman. Isa Gonzalez. Oh, she's so beautiful. I will love her as Wonder Woman. She'll be amazing. Lucas Till as the Flash. Glenn Powell as Hal Jordan, my idol class. I love them all except Lucas Till. I want Andrew Garfield to be the Flash. I think Andrew Garfield will be a great Barry Allen. Just saying. Very underrated.
I think he's a little old, but I think he looks young.
But Lucas Till is not a bad casting either. Lucas Till was Havoc in X-Men First Class.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield's 40.
Oh God, he's old. Never mind.
Yeah.
That dude's old. I keep forgetting he's not young.
Here's the thing, and by the way, because here's the thing with picking someone like Andrew Garfield at 40 years old. Yeah, does he look the part now and he looks young where it isn't an issue?
Yeah.
You do not know how someone's going to age, and that's a big risk to take when they're saying they want this to be a 10-year plan.
Yeah, I agree. The funny thing is that Ryan Reynolds would have been the best Barry Allen. I wish that they casted Barry Allen when he was younger, man, instead of doing GL. Just saying.
Yeah. If I could play a character, if I looked the part, I would probably pick Magneto.
I can see it. If you it was about the question. If you could pick a character, who would I be? I don't know, man. I don't know who I'll be. I don't know.
By the way, I'll give you the reason too, because I think Magneto is probably my all-time favorite villain in all comic books. And the reason I love Magneto so much, aside from being Jewish and the Holocaust and all that, is because when Magneto goes to do anything, attack someone, and he always poses a reason to why he's doing something, and it makes you think twice if he really is the villain or not. And that's why I don't even think he's really a villain. I think he's more of an anti-hero. But I think he's obviously he's very praised, but I think for how dope Magneto is, I still think he's crazy underrated because he is the GOAT to me.
Yeah. Now I would get destroyed for this, and fans would hate me forever, but I would be Robin.
Oh, because I know you love Robin.
Yeah, Robin's my favorite character of all time, so I'll definitely be Robin. Robin, I would love to be like Batwing or Iron Man. Just for regular characters.
Oh, on the note of Batman, before we move on, even though it's kind of off topic, I wanted to bring
Go
up
ahead.
something. I should have put it in the docket.
Is this about the games?
No, it's about a tweet that I responded to. Hold on, where is it? So someone wrote this about Batman, and I want to talk about my response. And I feel like a lot of people that don't read comics might think this, and I wonder if our fan base is very read up on comics, people who kind of want the cliff notes from guys like us. I don't know. But anyway, he wrote, and no shade on him. I actually kind of like him sometimes. He's a Snyder fan who has been, taking a lot of steps in the right direction. So shout out to him. His name is Our Movie News. Anyway, he goes, the no-kill rule is great in principle, but ends up being pointless in most situations. Batman's completely against killing, yet is completely happy with putting criminals in intensive care or in some cases making them paralyzed. So I wrote, but that's the whole point of Batman. The strict no-kill policy isn't just a minor trait. It's deeply ingrained in who he is and what drove him to become Batman. From the trauma of his parents' death, this is what sets him apart from the villains. It's more than just a moral stance. It's part of his core psyche, showing his fear of becoming what he fights against and his belief in the possibility of redemption. And I think that, it's crazy that it says a lot about X. And again, no shade on him, but, for a guy with such a big follower count, that's a crazy take to have because it just goes to show him and a lot of other people really just do not understand Batman. I heard Batman was 100% in Aquaman 2. Do you think he'll show up? Absolutely.
No, that got cut out because of James. Because James Gunn said, "Oh hell no!" Whoa.
Which, by the way, they shouldn't put Batman in. There's no DCU casted Batman yet. There's no retro Batman they can put in that is going to make any sense for the movie. It's only going to piss people off for no reason, even though James Gunn could literally breathe, and people will be like, "God damn it, James Gunn!" I
disagree. Just leave Affleck out of it. I'm good. Guys, we will talk about Aquaman in the end, so don't worry. All right, now X-Men movie.
Yeah, we skipped this one.
Which one?
Aquaman is the last DC film before the DCU.
Yes. Okay, so I want to talk about this X-Men stuff that's going on. So there's two rumors that have come out. The first rumor is Mr. Sinister is reportedly the top contender to become the main villain in the MCU's upcoming X-Men project. And also, there's another rumor that came out that X-Men is going to be primarily a female-led film. Okay? So I want to really talk about this itself because, number one, I want to... All right, but first off, Mr. Sinister as the villain for X-Men 1, I think is super dope. But one of the things that another rumor that came out, I think it was yesterday, was that the X-Men do not want to involve Magneto in the first film. And the rumor was so bad that even IMAX, the Twitter page, literally commented, are you insane? Okay. So this is the part of rumors where it gets a little too far, guys. I want to remind you all, just because something is a rumor, it doesn't mean it's true. Okay. A lot of times, and this is the issue with leakers, and that's why Comic Cuts and I we're very meticulous when we address rumors, okay? Because what can happen is we get early developments of the story and things change. So prime example, right? We have been saying this about the Fantastic Four, about it being a female-led film. A lot of us, there's a lot of people that believe that those were early developments that got scrapped. Even with Ant-Man, we got early developments of Ant-Man, and we saw the movie. A lot of stuff just didn't unfold. Okay, and I think with X-Men, what is happening is it's the same thing. We're getting early developments of the project, and what is happening is fans are just overreacting to stuff that we don't know if it's true or not. And honestly, we can't make a decision on if it's female led or not until we see the casting. The casting will tell you if it's female if it's a female-led film or not. And let's not forget, X-Men tried the female-led film. And X-Men Dark Phoenix, right? Even in all the other X-Men films, who was the main character? Mystique. Am I right?
I don't know if I would say she's the main character, but she's like
She was
definitely in
one
the
of the
top
main
three.
highlighted characters in that X-Men, like from X-Men First Class to X-Men Dark Phoenix. Mystique played one of the biggest roles in the film until she checked in the end, and then it ended up
Yeah.
becoming about Jean Grey. Okay, it didn't work. Like it didn't work. And
The issue is that like the X-Men stories haven't been other than the obviously Dark Phoenix storyline, but the problem with doing the Dark Phoenix storyline again is they've tried it twice. They've never had success with it, and they're really, I mean, there aren't any other major prominent stories. I mean, I guess there are, but uh, you know, to introduce the X-Men in a way that is successful on screen, I don't think that the female centric stories like House of M, for example, I mean, House of M would be a stupid movie to make as the first X-Men movie. And I know a lot of people have predicted that, which if anyone ever predicted that to be the first X-Men movie, never trust a word they say. And for those of you who don't know, that movie is about her taking the mutant powers away from all of the mutants. That comic storyline. It's a great comic. I recommend it. But, the main X-Men characters are, in no specific order, Professor X, Charles Xavier. He is the guy in the chair, Cerebro. He's a empath or whatever they call it.
empath.
Empath, yeah. And then there is Magneto, and he controls metal. He is kind of like opposite on Professor X in how they view the mutants' role in society and civilization. And then there are Wolverine and Scott Summers, Cyclops. So, and that's Logan. That's who Hugh Jackman played. And then that's James Marsden, and he's the guy who, if you open his eyes, he will shoot a laser, and that's why he wears the goggles. So I think what they should do, and this would be a different take on it, as much as I love Wolverine, and I think everyone loves Wolverine, and I'm not saying Wolverine should take a back seat, but I think that they should have Scott Summers, Cyclops, take like the captain role of the team, which he's more known for in the comics than as seen in the Fox X-Men franchise. And I think that he could deliver in that role, kind of like Captain America, and you could still have Wolverine alongside him in no inferior way. Like Iron Man wasn't inferior to Captain America, but he's another prominent character. And no, I'm not comparing Iron Man and Wolverine because they have nothing to do with each other. But I know that people, like to use their imagination and put words in people's mouths. Now, the other thing, here's the thing about not having Magneto, because did we get to that yet?
No, but okay. I want to comment about Cyclops really fast. Okay. Cyclops, no X-Men movie has focused on how great of a leader Cyclops is. Cyclops is the guy that's writing the missions, that's telling people what they need to do. Wolverine humbles himself to Cyclops. That is the point of them too, because
Cyclops
they both need
the captain.
Yes, and Wolverine humbles Cyclops still, but that's how their relationship works. But when it comes down to the mission, Wolverine does what Cyclops says, and there's no other way around it. And and to an extent, when it comes to missions, Cyclops is the smartest guy in the room. I think that needs to be really highlighted. And you are right, Scott Summers. I mean, obviously Wolverine's going to be the most popular character, one of the main focus, but Scott Summers equally needs to be put in that spotlight. And not to mention, right, there's other good characters you can do instead of Jean Grey. Storm is a great character. You can do a focus on her as well. Storm is and with Storm you can do other things. So Storm could go hang out in Wakanda for a Black Panther movie as well. I would love for the Black Panther and Storm story to be adapted into the comics. I mean, into the MCU. So I mean, there's a lot that you can do with the X-Men itself, and I mean, not to mention Beast and all these. I mean, there's so much you can do with the
Yeah.
X-Men. So, um,
So
yeah,
on
I don't
that,
think it should. Hold on, the 1 second. So, I don't think it should be female led or male led. I think the thing is that the X-Men is about a group of misfits. Okay, that's what it's about. So just like how in Black Panther, right? And I think Black Panther 1 did it perfect to where Black Panther focused on everyone and it ended on T'Challa. And I think X-Men needs to take a similar approach, and I think whoever makes the X-Men movies, they need to really watch the Avengers films and how they do it, you know. And I think that's the kind of model that they need to go
I
where everyone has their piece to shine, but when it comes down to the battle, when it comes down to when leadership happens, that's when the stars step up. That's when we'll see Cyclops and Wolverine and Professor X and whoever's stepping up.
So, listen, I think that they need to be very smart in how they take inspiration from the Avengers movies. Because the big difference between the Avengers movies and the X-Men movies that are, inevitable to come are the fact that the Avengers all got solos before we got the Avengers movie. It's not going to be that way for the X-Men movie. So I think that number one, the X-Men movie should have a long run time because you got to properly introduce the characters. And number two, I don't want to say there isn't a main character of the Avengers. It was very obvious that Iron Man was the main character, even though they didn't do much to center him. But when he flew into the wormhole at the end and things like that, and I'm sure there will be moments like that, but I think that they could equally go around and all of the X-Men could kind of have their special moment within the movie. But there was also another part of the rumor was Magneto is not going to be in the movie. And, someone might think I'm biased with what I just said about Magneto, but I'm not in this case because I know how to take a step back and remove my bias from things. You can't have, the problem is that he isn't always one of the X-Men because he ends up, leaving them and doing his own thing. But he is one of the main mutants. And the X-Men is a mutants movie. And to have him, I'm not saying he needs to be in all of the movies, but at least in the very beginning, you kind of have to have him. Like, how do you not have Magneto? And it's kind of like saying having X-Men without, almost like without Wolverine. Like, it's just, you don't, and he doesn't need to be the villain of that movie, but you have to introduce him. And I think it's important to the mutant story to at least explain and this is why Magneto is so important, is you need to explain the evolution of his relationship to Charles and how they have such a big disagreement on how mutants should live in society. Because the difference is that here's the facts. Humans hate mutants. They're terrified of mutants, and they want mutants to not exist because they're so scared of the threat of mutants. And Charles Xavier, Professor X, believes we have to win the humans over and learn to live in peace. And Magneto, who is a guy who, been through the Holocaust, he's been persecuted his whole life as a Jew, as a mutant, and he is just like, these people are never going to not fear us. They're always going to want to get rid of us. And we're wasting our time and our own safety and security trying to make us be able to coexist with them. We're a superior race, the mutant race, and we're going to live as superiors. So they have a big disagreement, but it wasn't always that way. And I'm not saying you need to make a whole movie about it, but you can't ignore that relationship and the progression of how they got to be, hero versus villain / anti-hero. Because they were at one point best friends, and then they become basically mortal enemies. And you can't ignore that. Ignoring that is you're not telling the real X-Men story at that point.
You're right. Even if he's not the main villain, Magneto does have to show up.
Yeah.
Because The thing is that people will turn to Magneto when they don't believe in Professor X, and
Yeah.
there's going to be doubt, and so they're going to have someone to turn to.
And that's what happens. And by the way, the Fox movies, they did a great job with Mystique leaving Professor X to join Magneto because of that.
I agree. So yeah, that's how I feel about the X-Men, man. But yeah, I love the Mr. Sinister stuff. I like that all. I
Yeah,
want to
and
tell you
Mr.
something.
Sinister's a
Yeah,
great villain.
he is. I want to tell you something funny that's off topic. Remember we were talking about Rebel Moon the other day about how people are saying it's trash?
Yeah.
Guess what Zack Snyder said? Check this
What?
out. Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder, and this is off topic, guys, real quick. Rebel Moon, Zack Snyder says there's a director's cut. It is almost a different movie from a different universe.
Oh, I saw
Get
this.
the movie right the first time, man. He is so.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
Yo,
I can't
by the way,
stand
didn't
Zack Snyder,
he
bro.
had full creative control, okay?
Oh
And
gosh,
this whole like
I can't
director's
stand Zack
cut,
Snyder, bro.
it's such a gimmick, man. It's such a gimmick. Oh, speaking of that, I want to add something to the docket. Should we do it now or should we save it for the end?
Yo, what is it?
About James Gunn talking about cameos.
Oh God.
Oh,
Let me add it. I'm gonna add it before we talk about Aquaman. All right.
okay.
Bet. I'm adding it right now. Okay, so now let's talk about this. Okay, so next topic on our docket is Marvel Studios meeting with Ryan Gosling for potential role in the MCU. So obviously, there were rumors coming out like months ago about Ryan Gosling being Doctor Doom. You and I talked about that on the podcast. Obviously, people like Brendan want him as Ghost Rider. So that's another, big thing that a lot of people want. But there are certain roles that, I think that Ryan Gosling will play. But before we do that, let me go do some of these chats, guys. I totally forgot that you guys put chats in here. My bad. My bad. All right, Hungry Almighty. I love it when people always criticize Batman for not killing, yet doesn't criticize the government and society for not killing the Joker. Like, why does Batman need to be the one to kill? Fair point. Fair point. The thing is with rumors, like they said, take anything that doesn't come from Marvel Studios with a grain of salt. Yes, I agree. Well, the X-Men are coming out in Deadpool 3, but the question is, are they the main X-Men? No, they're not the main X-Men. The Fox X-Men is going to be in Deadpool. And it's going to be a different version from the original. They're going to have like actual costumes and look like actual heroes.
There were some additional leaks, but I don't know if we discussed that last week or decided we weren't going to discuss them. I think the photo of an additional character that we just spoke about.
We can talk about it if you want.
All right, yeah. So, spoiler alert, but James Marsden's Scott Summers, Cyclops, in the retro X-Men suit, not from the movies, like retro from the comics, was so photo populated. Normally we would have that saved, but we didn't add this to the docket. So if you want, look it up. It was on the beach, which looked to be the same exact beach that
it looks sweet,
Deadpool
man.
Wolverine photos came from. So he's definitely going to be in that scene. It looks fire. Get hyped. Deadpool 3 is going to be a certified banger.
Yeah, I'm definitely coming up to New York for that one, bro.
Hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah.
All right.
We're going to see it in Dolby.
Heck yeah. The thing is about the X-Men, who will play characters? How would they be interested? Who will play the characters? Who do I have? I don't have a list on hand about who will play the X-Men characters at the moment. But in the next week, Comic Cuts and I will put together who we think should be cast as who, and we'll talk about it. All right.
Yeah. By the way, if there is ever a topic that you want us to talk about, feel free to shoot us a message. Like, we love hearing from you. And if there's something that you guys want to hear from us, like, we're happy to do it.
100%. And if you ever want to join the episode and talk as well, the stage is yours. We would love you to jump on with us.
And by the way, if you do want to jump on and you're camera shy, like, it could be audio only. Obviously, we prefer to have your face, but we'll take the audio only.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention the soft MCU reboot. Would the reboot affect the X-Men or the main MCU characters we've seen? So the theory that's going around is that there's going to be these things called the Chosen Ones, and the Chosen Ones going to be like Spider-Man, stuff like that. and basically the chosen ones are going to be characters that we have in the MCU now. That's going to go to the rebooted MCU, and so technically after Secret Wars, that's gonna be the last time we're going to see like Halle Berry, Storm, and all of those characters, and then we'll go into a new MCU universe with the new X-Men. Probably going to keep the same Fantastic Four and stuff like that.
Oh,
That's
and
the
by the
rumor
way,
that's going around.
one other thing while we're jumping all the way off topic. Here's the proof that everything he just said is accurate. Tom Holland signed a contract to do like 9 Spider-Man movies. Okay. So when there's 9 Spider-Man movies, there's only 3 out. The 4th is coming, but it hasn't been officially announced yet in a title or a trailer or whatever. So you know that there's a ton of those movies that are going to come after Secret Wars. Tom Holland is staying on as Spider-Man. So every time he says something, you know, he's been going back and forth as he's not playing Spider-Man. He is playing Spider-Man. That's all nonsense that get you hyped up and say things in the moment, because it's been confirmed that he signed like a 9-movie contract.
Yeah, and he got the bag.
Yeah.
He definitely got the bag. If I was doing X-Men after the Starver with the first movie, and now should be X-Men with no Wolverine and Cyclops as the main character, then a Wolverine movie, then I would disagree there.
I think some of them might get their own solos, but
I didn't like the Wolverine solos, bro.
oh really, dude? I mean, I gotta rewatch them, but I really like the first one.
Well, I like X-Men Origins. I like X-Men Origins.
That one was dope.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I've been meaning to rewatch the second one and Logan. I didn't like Logan as much as everyone else.
Me either. I think Logan's overrated, but that's just me. All right. Shia LaBeouf, aka Bobby. I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Have Magneto be an end credit scene or with an X-Men member who eventually turns on later. You see, but the thing that Professor Xavier does, right? And if you watch like a
First
Wolverine, if you what no, if you watch like Wolverine and the X-Men animated shows, if you watch X-Men 97, what Professor X does a lot is that whenever he gets into a place where he doesn't know where to go, he goes to Magneto. Like that's the thing. Like they are mortal enemies, but when Xavier is in a pinch, that's who he goes to. So you have to have Magneto somewhere in the story.
Yeah.
You know, and
it's so central to the X-Men story that like a post-credit scene doesn't do him justice. And like you could have him as the main villain in a later X-Men movie, but have him in like, you know, 2 or 3 scenes. You don't even need to have him in the entire movie. I would like to. Obviously, I love Magneto. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. But I just think it's important that relationship and the history of that relationship is explained, at least up until the history of where they are in that movie. Because, you know, we don't know if we're going to get a young Charles Xavier or an old Charles Xavier. We have no idea.
Also, do you know who needs a Disney Plus show from the X-Men? Nightcrawler. A Nightcrawler show would be dope.
That would be dope. And you know what's crazy? So apparently they've never done a Nightcrawler origin story, and they're just doing it like right now in the comics.
Dude, I think that will be Nightcrawler is my favorite X-Men character, actually, so I would love to see a Nightcrawler show.
What makes him your favorite?
I just love his powers.
Yeah.
I love his powers. Yeah. Like just the fact he's able to just teleport back and forth. I love the fighting style. Like it's just I don't know, it's just something and also he has the best costume. In my opinion. I think he has the best suit.
I'm probably biased, but I love Magneto's suit, especially in Days of Future Past. That shit was so hard.
Do you know who else's suit is very underrated? Quicksilver.
The one with the lightning?
The green one. Type in Quicksilver green suit. X-Men.
Hell no.
You don't like it?
Sorry. I think that shit's whack.
You don't like it?
Not at all.
I think it's fire, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm not feeling it.
I think it's gas. But anyways, all right, Ryan Gosling is Nova. No, I don't want Ryan Gosling as Nova.
Gambit
Gosling
has
is
a
no,
dope.
huh?
Gambit has a sick outfit.
Agreed. Gosling is Nova. Richard Rider as Sentry is my. Gosling is Sentry. That would be interesting.
No, he said Richard Rider.
No, he said or Sentry too.
Uh,
I don't see Gosling as Nova. I
who the
want him as
hell
Ghost
is
Rider.
Richard?
Richard Rider is one of the Novas.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, 9 Spider-Man movies, as in 9 more after No Way Home, or 9 as in counting his first 3?
I don't know.
No,
Let me
so
look up
so these 9 movies are stretched out between solo movies, being in other people's projects, and Avengers films. So Secret Wars and King Dynasty are a part of his contract, and Spider-Man 4.
So
is
I
part of his
was
contract.
wrong on the number, but he signed on for at least another Spider-Man trilogy after No Way Home. So that means
Yeah.
we're getting 4, 5, and 6. And maybe if we're lucky, 4 comes before Secret Wars. I imagine it will. But 5 and 6 are probably going to be after that.
Yep. All right. We have, if 5 and 6 will most likely be in the reboot. For
Yeah.
Sentry, Alexander Skarsgård or Ryan Gosling, either Nova or Mr. Fantastic. Skarsgård should not be Sentry. No.
Yeah. By the way, you could give Skarsgård a dope role. Like, by the way, I'm not so big on Sentry as a character.
He'll
like,
be a good villain.
And maybe I'm not so, no, I don't want to say I'm not well read on Sentry. Of course, I'm well read on Sentry, but I don't know. I don't know. He never really did it for me in the comics. I don't understand where everyone's fascination with Sentry came from, and if someone could point me to the comics that made them love Sentry, I would be happy for it.
Agree. It's funny how fans come out of nowhere acting like they love all these characters.
You know what I think it is? I think a lot of people don't want to admit that they don't know a character, and they see some people hyping it, and then they jump on the bandwagon. But because I really don't know where all the Sentry love comes from.
Yep. There's a rumor Ryan Gosling might play out of Doom. Yeah, that was an early rumor. I don't think that's going to happen though. I wouldn't be mad though. I wouldn't be mad if he got casted, but I think Cillian Murphy is literally will be one of the greatest castings since like darn near T'Challa. So I mean, that's like I don't think you guys understand. Cillian Murphy is like one of the greatest actors of our time. So and let me tell you this: if they land Cillian Murphy, then that means that we're going to be getting some really great actors coming into MCU.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Like. Because you gotta understand
that could mean Leo DiCaprio coming.
Yes, that's what people don't understand. Like Cillian is an artist. Like when you think about art and acting, Killian's one of those guys. That's different. And Christian Bale was already, and it's sad that Christian Bale got ruined, but Christian Bale was one of those guys where Christian Bale is an artist. He's one of the greatest actors to ever live. And so
which is why he's the best Batman.
Okay, next question. Gambit and Rogue Disney Plus.
You walked into that one.
Oh God, should have them both officially join the X-Men. Yep, that'll be dope. I feel like Rogue is overrated, but anyways, I wanted Wolverine to smash Rogue so many times. Anyways, Sentry just looks because Wolverine loves her. Sentry looks cool and fell in love with him in World War Hawk. Yeah, I kind of wanted him to smash. All right. With Ryan Gosling, this is how I feel about Ryan Gosling. I think Ryan Gosling should play Ghost Rider. I think he'd be perfect as Ghost Rider. I really don't see any other role they could play. If he was Dr. Doom, I wouldn't be mad at that. I do not see this man as Mr. Fantastic. And I think if he was Sentry, you will be wasting him as a character. And Nova, I mean, I think you should cast a younger character as Nova. I don't think you should cast Ryan Gosling as Nova.
As Johnny Storm, but I don't think he would go for that.
He's too old.
Yeah,
he's too old for John.
He's probably 40 also.
He's definitely in his 40s. But yeah, 43. So yeah, I think Ghost Rider is a really good role. Oh, snap, my bad. I think Ghost Rider is a really good role for Ryan Gosling personally. I really wouldn't want to see him play any other role. And like I'm trying to think of other heroes I could see him playing. Like it's not clicking in my mind. Yeah, I don't really see any. But yeah, so now let's talk about Aquaman 2, guys, because Aquaman 2 comes out in 2 days. and I want to talk about our expectations for Aquaman 2. Okay, so at least here are my expectations for Aquaman 2. So my expectations for Aquaman 2 is this. Okay, I think that Aquaman is in a predicament, and I recorded and I literally recorded this the other day, but I didn't post it on TikTok. So this will be the chance. The thing about Aquaman is this. I think that if Aquaman does like a billion or 800 million or 700 million, I think what they're going to do is they're going to allow James Wan to make an Aquaman 3, and that will be in the Elseworlds category, like Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I think that that's what James Gunn was doing with a lot of these other solo projects that were coming out, other than Blue Beetle, because Blue Beetle is going to be in the DCU. I think that James Gunn is giving them the chance to kind of like see if they are successful, and if it is, then it'll just be an Elseworlds film, and he'll just let Momoa and them do their own movie. But I think my expectation for Aquaman, I mean, I don't really have high expectations for this film. I've listened and watched a lot of reviews. I heard that it's not bad. I heard that Arthur and Orm are like the highlight of the movie. We don't see a lot of Amber Heard, obviously, but and I heard that some of the CGI isn't as good as the first one, but it's still good. But I heard that, and this is what I think is going to happen. I think I'm going to fall in love with Black Manta because I felt like he was cringe in the first film. Not going to lie, but I've been reading a lot of constant reviews, and I heard that Black Manta is good. The only issue that I heard though is that they said that his motivation to kill doesn't seem genuine, and that's what's going to scare me because for me to get into villains, because I think villains make up most of the story. I think you would also agree. The reasoning has to be valid, and if it's kind of cringy and he just wants to kill him for no reason, I would feel it. But I mean, I expect this movie to be like a 7 or 6 out of 10. Like I'm not expecting it to be like one of the greatest things I've ever seen. So, what are your expectations?
I was never so big on the first one. I'm definitely not big on the second one. I have a ticket to go see it on Friday, and like, I don't know if I'm gonna even go. I'm
Really?
just wait for this one to come out on next. Yeah, I mean,
I'm going Thursday.
You that it's like really good. I think I have a ticket to see it Thursday too, because I have a list, so I don't pay anything additional.
Same here, brother.
Hold them, yeah.
Membership gang.
Yeah, hell yeah. But yeah, like I don't know. I just also, there is something to be said for shared universes and their time coming to an end. Like, if something does exist in a shared universe and I know it's over, and like, then it ruins a lot of the fun. And I know, my friend Culture Nerd talks about this on the story a lot. He's like, still a good movie. Like, enjoy the movie, take it for what it is. And I get that perspective, but I can't say I'm fully in line with it. Like if there's a movie that had a shared universe that I really liked and now it's over, like I'm kind of just like, yeah, I'm looking forward to the DCU, especially because I wasn't so big on Aquaman. Like, Flash as a character, I really like. I liked the Flash movie a lot. I thought it was a really good movie, and I think it got trashed horribly by people that were biased, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Aquaman's gonna be great. It sucks. I think Black Manta is a dope villain. I liked the idea of him teaming up with Orm, so I think like the cards are in the right place, but I don't know. I just feel like, and I don't always believe the hype, but there's a lot of negative hype on this movie, and I am believing it this time for whatever reason, for better or worse.
All right, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of hyped to see this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I can't wait to see. I hope it's good. But we will give you guys. I'm gonna post a reaction probably a Thursday night. And then Comic Cut's gonna probably, and if he goes, he'll probably throw up a reaction to he'll probably throw up a reaction or something. But obviously, you'll get but you know how we do, guys. We don't give our full thoughts until the podcast, so. You'll get our full thoughts December 26th, and we'll talk about all that jazz and how we feel about it. So, it's probably going to, but I will say, I am excited for What If though more than
I
Aquaman 2.
Wait.
So, I just want to talk about. Yep, It's this Friday, man. I'm excited. So I do want to talk about this. So what we're gonna do is what I yeah. So what we're gonna do is so next Tuesday, um, Comic Cuts and I want to really talk about the future, aka we want to talk about the 2024 slate and what we're going to do. So I think we might record 2 episodes in the next week. Maybe one episode reviewing What If and Aquaman and all that stuff.
Don't give up the name because we got a good name for it.
Yeah, I'm not. We're going to be reviewing What If and Aquaman. Or maybe on like another we might do 2 episodes. Or like maybe like Tuesday we might just do the reviews because that's more important, obviously. And then I think we'll maybe record again that Saturday or something and talk about the future because that's probably the most important episode that we're going to make of like so far.
Yep.
So yeah. So now go into your whole thing about James Gunn cameos. Go ahead, bro.
Okay. So James Gunn had a couple of comments, and I'm going to read them out, and then I'm going to give my take. The whole point was that it's not a large film. I mean, not in terms of cast. It's normal for single protagonist films to have other characters. Much more unusual for them not to. Now, he also offered his views on cameos in superhero movies, saying that recent additions to the genre have leaned too heavily on brief appearances from characters that aren't relevant to the plot. James Gunn said, I call that cameo porn, and it has been one of the worst elements of recent superhero films. He wrote, if a character is in film, they have to have a reason to be there story-wise. Gunn explained that he isn't entirely opposed to thoughtful cameos, but he criticized films that compromise their own stories by trying to maximize the amount of superhero characters that can be included. I don't mind, and he also said, I don't mind actual cameos. If it's a glimpse or a moment, an Easter egg, he wrote, what bothers me is when they mangle an elegant story by shoehorning characters in. They aren't there because the story calls for it, but for some other reason. And listen, this is something I've been saying for a long time. So when I saw James Gunn said this, I was really glad that he spoke out because this, to me, is like a cheap gimmick, and it's only becoming more and more popular. And as it's becoming more and more popular, I'm seeing a lot of fandom demand for it on social media. And like sometimes when I see fandom demands, and I just think how bad the demands are and how detrimental this could be. And I said the same exact thing when people were demanding that Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa not be recasted. And look how that turned out. And listen, like James Gunn said, if they add an element to the story and they have a reason for being there, like that's awesome. It worked in Spider-Man No Way Home. But now it's starting to feel like a cheap gimmick. And take The Flash, for example. And I love that movie, okay? But don't you think that if the cameos in The Flash weren't so excessive and redundant, people would have probably criticized the movie less? Because it got a lot of heat for those cameos. So if it was redundant, excessive, and unnecessary in The Flash, why is it going to be needed or awesome in all these other movies that you're demanding cameos for online? And listen, if a character's in the story, they need to have a purpose and a reason for being there. And by the way, Thor: Love and Thunder fell victim to this as well. I was more excited for Thor: Love and Thunder because I knew that the Guardians of the Galaxy were going to be in the movie. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy came in for a cameo. I was more excited for Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness because I knew Professor X was going to be in the movie. And then he was killed in an instant, and it was an unnecessary cameo. And I just think that if we keep going down this path, it's going to be worse and worse. And let this trend not continue to negatively tarnish our movies. That's all I got.
I agree. I mean, I like cameos, but there's a way to do it. That's what I'll say. Your movie shouldn't limit out cameos. The only movie that gets the excuse for that is I said I agree. With the whole, I mean, I agree with what you said. I love cameos, and I think there's a use for them. But when your movie lives and dies on them, that's when I have a problem. There's only one movie that gets surpassed for that, and that's Spider-Man: No Way Home.
But that isn't. But like, that's not what we're talking about because that served the story.
And
that's
what I'm saying. And
yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's the only pass where it works is No Way Home. That's the only time I've seen it work. That's what I'm saying. The only time I've seen it work. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. You know, we got Ralph Bonard in WandaVision. You know, remember that? We got straight up Bonard.
Seriously.
So yeah, I mean, man. And I think Multiverse of Madness could have been something special. Why did we not get Superior Iron Man? I mean, it's like there's certain things that you just missed out on. Like, you know, I don't really think cameos were the issue. It's just that the cameos were whack and they serve no purpose to the film.
Are an issue, and it's a growing issue, and I think it should be an area of concern for everyone.
Yeah, well, that's why Deadpool is making Wolverine a part of the movie.
Yeah,
thank God.
And
all right,
like,
yeah,
that's cool.
Yep. All right, we're gonna read these chats, and then we're gonna get out of your hair for the night and check out this. All right, let's see what's going on. All right, wait a minute. How would they introduce Doctor Doom? My theory is I would love them to introduce Doctor Doom through Doctor Strange 3. I said this earlier. I think Doctor Doom surpasses the Fantastic Four. He's a sorcerer first. Him and Doctor Strange are literally toe to toe when it comes to power level, and Doctor Doom surpasses Doctor Strange actually. So, I would love to see them. I would love to see him coming through Doctor Strange 3 personally. I think that would be very different, but I think it would be super awesome. But after Aquaman 2, they're going to start to reboot. Yes, they are. Oh, you're talking about me saying that they would do an Aquaman 3? Bro, I promise you, if Aquaman 2 does $1 billion, they're doing Aquaman 3. There's no way. DC needs, after canceling Batgirl and not being profitable in The Flash, they need money. I doubt they'll make an Aquaman 3 because look what happened to Wonder Woman 3. They thought of it, and the next day they decided not to make it. The difference is the studio actually likes Jason Momoa. They don't like Gal.
Really?
No.
Why don't they like Gal? What did she ever do?
Because she thought it was Zack Snyder. All right. Don't plan on watching this. Momoa as Aquaman was always overrated to me. I prefer the blonde hair Aquaman. I prefer the blonde hair Aquaman too. But I do think you should watch it. I think Momoa does his own style of Aquaman, which I think is good. I think Jason Momoa's Aquaman is mostly famous because he's viewed to women as sexy as hell. You know, I think that's why his Aquaman was like perfect, not perfect, but I mean, sorry, that's why I think his Aquaman was popular, and also because it just like to me, this version of Aquaman is just Jason Momoa, just that he can swim. You know, so that's why I think like Aquaman pops. So we'll see what happens. But this is where we're going to end the episode. Thank you guys for watching and listening. Please like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. We got videos posting every day, videos on TikTok, Instagram. I changed my strategy. We're doing more of like news and stuff on Instagram. Comic cuts, post comic cuts, actual comic cuts every day. And so we're all over on content. So please follow our pages. And starting next week, we'll be going live on Instagram. So
hell yeah.
So we're already live on Twitch, we're live on YouTube, we're live on X and Facebook, and now we'll be on Instagram, and hopefully we'll be on TikTok soon. So thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Have a wonderful day, and Merry Christmas to you all.